entrepreneurship, and I think that we need to tap into that. So the African people have always been the civilization builders. Before we are here today, they went around the globe to basically create these civilizations. And a lot of the time, they went back to Africa to tap into the progress and development and all kinds of information to go and feed and pollinate all across the globe. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because when we think about solutions, about the massive problem we have inherited because of a culture of use and abuse of nature that now requires us to think of an economic system as basically a hoarding economic system, because this is really what it is. It's not only about meeting our basic needs, it's now meeting all our wants. So when you look at the Western model, you know that all that is generated, about 40% of it is thrown in the garbage. So we overproduce, we are overdeveloped when we look at that model. And we never understand what's the cost of overdevelopment. Overdevelopment is when you deplete your natural resources to fulfill your wants. So most of the parts that I have been the one contributing to this problem, it was not about needs anymore. It was about wants. Because we have an economic model that is shaped to only geared to gaining financial resources, or to augment our ability to have access to all kinds of things that are basically meeting our wants. So we have to ask ourselves the question, is this the model we want? Because we cannot talk about sustainability of environment if we are in an unsustainable economic model. It doesn't work. We have to ask ourselves the right question. Is the model itself sustainable? So if the model is not sustainable, you can put all kinds of measures to act sustainably, but the model itself is a model of never-ending growth, never-ending creating of wants. So how do we make it work? So it will ask of us, people from different cultures, to come together and to realize that we need to decolonize our mind about the way we look at each other, and to pair and to collaborate on finding solutions. And those solutions can not only be technical, they have to also be ideological. Because we have to reframe economy with our understanding of how we live alongside and how we live harmoniously with the environment. It's going to be quite essential. So this is why I go around the world trying to create those bridges, especially to ask you to look at Africa in a different way. Because Africa, as it was the cradle of humanity, as it was the cradle of civilization, it is still today holding one of the greatest potential for change. But we need to be able to collaborate and bring about the resources we need to make sure that the people of Africa have a say, and the people of Africa can share their knowledge and can contribute to also finding those solutions. But I definitely think that the solution cannot be found if we are separate and we work separately in a vacuum. Because if you fix the problem in India and we don't fix it in Africa, you're going to still be on the same planet. And so anything that happens there will affect your livelihood here, as we are now all a victim of these problems, because only a very small part of the world benefited from the so-called, economic development. So this is why I'm so eager to be here, to participate to the conversation, to tell you about Congo, that is really an amazing place that holds the greatest biodiversity in the world, that is essential for the survival of the planet. So when we think about solution, we also need to think about how collectively we press to preserve these kind of places. And I think that the first step is to rethink our system, is to recreate a different paradigm of what it really means to be developed, what it really means to be civilized. Because the civilization we are currently in has only civil, the name. Because everything else, as we can see, it's been about violence, to people, but also to the environment, because the problems we have now is violence against the environment. So we need to accept that we can no longer just continue to make it look like this is the model we all want to aim to integrate. We have to segue from that model. But how do we do it if we don't do it collectively for those who have been on the other side? So this is why I'm here, to invite you to reflect, to invite you to understand that culture is the main foundation on top of which our economic system is built. And so long as the culture the paradigm is exclusively a Western paradigm, we will continue to face the same situation. So if we work together, we can definitely tackle this, because in our culture, we think of consequences of solutions as well. So thank you very much for welcoming.